And I don't know about the rest of you, but I typically like to listen to a bit of music before I start a session. And, it's all about raising vibration, of course. And for me, it's amazing. Maybe that'll be a good poll question for next week is, it seems like the people that I often do spirit fairs with and that sort of thing really like to meditate and have quiet time before they do readings. And I guess that helps them either focus or make contact or raise their vibration or whatever. But typically I like to have headphones on and playing Rolling Stones or something extremely loud and fast because I find that it really raises my energy. Likewise, if I'm at a spiritualist church and have some really good music either before the service or during the service, you can really pick up the energy in a room. I know when I was at Arthur Findlay College, I was so surprised because the spiritualist church here where I am plays quite traditional music. But when they had the main service there and everybody was together, they started the evening off with I Have a Dream by ABBA. Well, everybody was ready to dance, so it was pretty amazing. But it really is something to think about if you're finding yourself going into a session perhaps where you're not sure that you have the energy or you're down a little bit. Try listening to some fast music. Anybody do the same sort of thing? Anybody have the same experience? All right, show of hands then. Touch your forehead so I can see who likes to meditate before they do things. Okay. And is there anybody who likes to do fast music? Okay. Here I am all by myself once again. All right. That's okay.
I never tried it. Maybe it's worth a try.
Tried it. Well, there you go. Maybe,
at church
I started with this song here.
Can you hear me?
Pardon?
I'm wondering if you could hear me.
Yes, I can.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't hear you.
But I do like to quiet my mind. So I will take time to quiet myself. But at church, we use that song as well. I love that song. So at church, we do the music.
Yeah. And if you're ever doing a platform night or a mediumship thing, I think it's almost a good idea to, after every couple of readings, maybe to do something to bring the energy back up in the crowd. And if you've been following 2 or 3 people that are kind of flat or been kind of boring or slow or whatever, it doesn't hurt to do a little crowd participation. I'll often have people, okay, especially if they're not, you got a crowd of, say, beginners that don't really know how to help you out when you're giving your reading, I'll often say to them, well, let's just practice a little game here, and it's kind of like Simon Says. So I'll say something, and if it applies to you, stand up, okay? So I'll say the statement, I have a man in spirit. Well, that pretty much gets everybody standing up. And then I'll go on to something else, okay? And he was over 6 feet tall, and then some will say remaining, some will sit down and up or whatever. But I'll do that for 3 or 4, first of all, to kind of get them used to the idea of participating. Some people I have found are really reluctant to participate unless you've hit every one of the conditions dead right and proven beyond a doubt that you actually have a spirit with them. And it makes it really hard. So you got a big crowd and you're narrowing it down to 1 or 2 people. And then suddenly, you're halfway through and a couple other people raise their hand that haven't mentioned it earlier because now they think it applies to them. And that's okay. It's just kind of hard to figure out where you're going. And so I think a little bit of training helps sometimes. All right, so listen, I want to get started. I think we've got a great session here tonight. We're going to be focusing on the different clairs. And so I've tried to arrange it for several different things here. And I always start with an opening prayer. So if we were together in a room, we met at my place, let's say, every Tuesday afternoon or evening, depending where you were, for a circle, we would all sit in the same place, and we would start by joining hands and saying a prayer. I like to share with you the one that I always use when I'm doing, before I do any kind of work. So if you wouldn't mind, just imagine we're holding hands, close your eyes, and pray to the God of your understanding. Divine spirits, dear Lord, please shine down upon us your beautiful divine light, filled with love, compassion, forgiveness, and protection. Please ensure that the work that we do today is from the highest of positive sources, and that what we say and do is for our own highest good and the highest good of all others. Amen. I like to do that for a couple of reasons, because I think it helps relax a sitter, especially if you're even doing one-on-one work. Some people come and they have really crazy ideas about what, medium acts, and reassure them that, they're not going to become, possessed or something like that. All right, it's going to take me 1 second here. I'm just going to switch to a faster internet connection. So I might be just and I was trying to see if the webinar thing was actually better for me than just the professional Zoom. And I'm not sure that it is. However, I was considering starting an online spiritualist church service once a week, because there's a lot of people who don't have a spiritualist church in their communities or whatever, or they can't make the times. And so I thought if we had a spiritual online church that people could go to that and attend that. And so the big difference, if you're interested, is that with the webinar, it's more like it's less interactive. Basically, you have a choice of having a large audience. You could have, say, 500 people, and then you could choose the people that you wanted to do the service, let's say, and they become panelists. Or let's say you were doing an interview of several famous psychics and you wanted people to listen but not to make noise and interrupt. You would choose them as panelists and everybody else as attendees. And so when I start the webinar here, then what I have to do is promote, like there's 15 of us here tonight, so I have to promote all of us to panelists so that we can interact, because this is very much an interactive session. So that's kind of what I was doing there. And then with 15 people, I need a better broadband, so I just switched it over to a better one. All right, so in each of our sessions, if you're new here, I'll just sort of walk through it a little bit for you. I try to model as best as possible a permanent circle that we would do. I really strongly believe, having been in parts of many, many different circles, that the best way to begin a circle is with a meditation. I think that part of the reason of having a circle is to build your own personal energy to help you become a better medium. And so if you're in a circle and you sit in the same spot, like physically together, the idea is that you share your energies and you share your vibrations, and it builds. And if spirit comes, they know that you're going to be in the same spot and you're going to be working with the same people, and then they draw upon the different energies in the group to make contact. So you may find that in a circle, you have a broader range of contacts. Whereas if you're just sort of on your own, you often sort of attract similar type spirits quite often, depending on your background. As being a teacher, I often get high school kids that have passed on, or students, or like even at spirit fairs, it seems like I do a lot of readings for children or young people. But I just think that's because we can relate, or the messages that they can send, I can read easier. A friend of mine who's a very famous sort of native psychic, she really gets a lot of suicides, and she also gets a lot of people with miscarriages, but that's, more with her background and her experience. And I remember one time at Arthur Findlay College, I was doing a reading in front of everybody, and there was a fellow there, and I said to him, I have a person here with the top of their head cut off right at their eyebrows. And he said, well, I know that person. And it was somebody who had fallen off of a hydro pole, not a pole, but a structure, and had their head sort of lopped off. But anyways, this person who had been coming wasn't sure he was a medium, and he was getting all these really weird, morbid dreams. And so the message from Spirit was that he was meant to be there because he could handle those kind of more graphic spirits and deaths, because he wasn't the only death he'd ever experienced. And so anyways, he was appealing to more, spirits that needed somebody who wouldn't be freaked out by having seen graphic scenes of death or whatever. And I really believe part of his work will probably be in finding missing people, or people who have been murdered and that sort of thing. I think that's where his destiny will lie. anyways, so I do believe we need to start with a meditation. And tonight we're going to do a couple of things. In the meditation, I always try to incorporate some healing because I really believe mediumship is healing. I think that's the purpose of the whole thing. I also try to incorporate a bit of grounding because as mediums, we all need to ground, or else, you know, we have the tendency of being overwhelmed by other people's energies, especially negative energies or very emotional readings can really throw you for a loop. So you almost need to practice grounding between each reading, or especially before every session. And so I've been trying to share a variety of different ones, and I'm going to begin with one of those here very shortly. After the meditation, we're going to begin the work and the instruction tonight on the different clairs. And then we're going to do a little bit of breakout work where we kind of chart and try to figure out what our main way of communicating is. And then I have a psychic and a mediumistic reading that we're going to do together. So that's sort of the groundwork. If you need to leave at any time, or this isn't for you, then please, I'm certainly not going to be hurt if you leave at any time. It is being recorded. You could always check it out later. All right. So if you wouldn't mind closing your eyes and getting comfortable, we're going to start with the meditation. And at any time, if you need to move, I'm just going to put you all on mute here. Just in case somebody's alarm goes off or somebody's dog comes in or something. When we're meditating, I like it to be quiet. So if you wouldn't mind just closing your eyes and relaxing, and begin to focus on your breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, close your eyes and then begin to focus on the air around your eyes and let all the little muscles in and around your eyes go loose and limp and calm and totally relaxed. Let that wonderful feeling of relaxation spread throughout your face, up into your hair, along your scalp and down the back of your neck, down from your eyes, down through your cheeks, along your jawline, down towards your chin, letting all the little muscles around your mouth go loose and limp and calm and totally relaxed. Allow your jaw to relax and your tongue to relax. And just like stepping into a beautiful warm morning shower, sense this wonderful sense of relaxation, just as if that warm water was hitting your face first and then spreading down throughout your body. Let's get that same sense of relaxation spreading from our face and head area down through our necks and into your shoulders. If you need to shrug your shoulders to let go of any stress or tension, do so. And I want you to really relax and realize that we're going to park all our cares and worries for a while. You can put them away in a trunk if you like and lock them away. If you ever want to come back to them, that's up to you. But for now, this is your time and your space. You're the one who's in control. You can decide how relaxed you want to become, safe and secure, and allow that wonderful feeling of relaxation in your shoulders begin to spread through your arms now, down over your shoulders and into your triceps and biceps, down over and around your elbows and into your forearms, through your forearms and into your wrists, through your thumb, along the tops and the bottom of your fingers and right out the ends of your fingers. And you may feel a tingling sensation when that happens. Some people do, others don't. Some feel different sensations. But mainly what's happening is that the energy flow around your body is increasing as you begin to let go of stresses and tensions. And as we draw in more beautiful breaths of air, regenerating and rejuvenating our body. And I want you to focus now on the chest area. Allow it to relax and let it spread down into your stomach, through your stomach and into your hips, through your hips and into your thighs. Your thighs are the hardest work muscle in your body. Let it go loose and limp and calm and totally relaxed. And notice how comfortable you're feeling. Warm, peaceful, safe and secure. The deeper you relax, the better you feel. And notice that your body is beginning to feel heavy, almost as if you're melting or sinking into the chair or couch that you're sitting on. Totally relaxed and calm. Let that wonderful feeling of relaxation spread from your thighs, through your knees, through your shins and your calves, down into your ankles, your Achilles, along the tops and the bottoms of your feet, right out the ends of your toes. And again, you might feel that tingling sensation. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes, you're feeling perfect in every way. Perfect mentally, perfect physically, emotionally, safe and secure. With every breath that you take, with every word that I say, allow yourself to become more and more relaxed. And now I want you to use the most powerful tool that you have in your medium handbook or kit, and that is the power of your imagination, the power of your mind. And so I want you to visualize or imagine or pretend that you're sitting or standing very tall. And I want you to visualize a beautiful, divine white light entering into the top of your head and entering your crown chakra. And then see it traveling down through all of your chakras, lighting and energizing each one in turn. So starting at the crown chakra, we see this beautiful divine light filled with beautiful white light. But then as you move down, as it begins to move down into your third eye chakra, it becomes a brilliant purple. And then as it goes further into your throat chakra, it becomes a bright blue. Next is your heart chakra, where it turns an emerald green, followed by your solar plexus chakra, which radiates a bright yellow. And then your navel chakra glows orange. And finally, your root chakra burns a deep red. And from the base of your spine, basically, from your root chakra, I want you to see the light turn golden again. And imagine or pretend or visualize a beautiful golden rope of light connecting you and all of your chakras down into the earth. And imagine that beautiful light going all the way to the center of the earth, so that now you have this beautiful light entering the top of your head, going through all of your chakras, bringing in divine light, returning to you all of your energy that you have given out or that other people have taken from you, and bringing it back down into your body, rejuvenating it and replenishing it, traveling through each of the chakras, changing colors, releasing all those negative energies that have been trapped in your body, releasing them down through that last bit of golden light, the golden string that goes all the way to the center of the earth where they are destroyed. Take one last very big, deep breath in, and as you blow out, you are now grounded and connected to the energy of the universe. I'd like to just have you stay where you are with your eyes closed and move into the healing scripts. I've had a special request from one of our members, Barb Johnson, who was in emergency on the weekend, to send some healing prayers her way. And I have a request from one of the local ministers for a man named Charles Manuel, just diagnosed with cancer. So if we're going to send some healing now, our intention is to send healing to people. So if you have people in your life that need healing, and don't forget to include yourself in this, or people that you've said, I'm going to pray for you, or any of those sort of things, we're going to have an opportunity now to send you your healing, but all of our combined energies towards them. So in your mind, I want you to imagine all the people that you would like to bring healing to today. And again, don't forget to include yourself. And imagine that there's a beautiful cloud surrounding your loved ones, your friends, yourself. This is a beautiful cloud of healing, a cloud of pure energy made up of healing light, completely surrounding them. And now I need you to pray to the God of your understanding that you intend to send out healing to these people. And then imagine them being surrounded once more by this beautiful cloud of healing. And with every breath that we are breathing in, imagine that we are getting this divine healing from a higher source. And it is growing in strength with every breath that we breathe in. And then as we breathe out, imagine that we're blowing that healing energy directly into the cloud where your loved ones are. And that cloud that surrounds them, amazing things starts to happen as you breathe into it and add more and more healing. Flashes of color happens each time that you breathe into it. It's like a lightning storm of sheet and bolt lightning. And each time there's a flash of color, it is just the perfect color that's needed to heal sometimes physical ailments, sometimes mental ailments, sometimes spiritual ailments. The perfect color for the perfect person, the perfect energy, as the divine spirits know what each and everybody needs. The perfect healing that is required. Sometimes it's gold colored, sometimes red, sometimes blue or green, depending on what is needed. And you can sense that the more that you breathe healing into your cloud surrounding your loved ones, that their individual energies are becoming more balanced. Sense their bodies and their energies coming into perfect harmony. Where there used to only be darkness and illness and sadness and hurt, there is now new light being breathed into them. Sense them becoming centered and powerful as the healing continues. And I want you to continue doing this for as long as you feel necessary. And when you're ready, tap your head and I'll move on. And now I want you to stay in this wonderful meditation that we've begun. We're going to move on to the main meditation now, where we're going to imagine that that beautiful divine light is still shining down directly onto you, that it's enveloping you from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. A magical golden light that totally surrounds you, enveloping you. I want you to allow this light to move within you, to feel its energy deep within you. Imagine that you're being visited by your main spirit guide. This may be a new experience for some people. It may be something that's happened to you before. But I'd like you to ask your main spirit guide to come closer now. And as they do, notice what they are wearing. And as they approach you, you can begin to sense their aura and your aura, their energy field, your energy field, starting to totally blend together so that you are completely connected and you're able to communicate telepathically. And in your mind, ask them what their name is so that you know the name of your main spirit guide if you haven't met them before. And if you have met them before, ask them how they're doing. Make introductions and take in all the information that they're willing to share with you at this time. And after a while, I want you to realize that they are here to give you a wonderful gift today. They're going to give you an object that you can tell us about later if you like. They're going to give you something unique, something that will help you on your path ahead, something that was going to bring you amazing powers. First, it'll bring the power of clairvoyance, the ability to see physical description, to be a clairvoyant. And then this wonderful gift, they're going to help you to have the ability to hear the other side, the spirit world, the other world, to be clairaudient. This wonderful gift is also going to help you improve your ability to feel and to sense spirits and what they're feeling and what they're thinking, to become clairsentient. And finally, the ability to just know. This is the ability to be claircognizant. They will also give you, in addition to these wonderful clairs, they're going to give you the understanding of when to speak to a spirit and when to be silent, of when to approach and when to stand aside. They're going to give you something unique, something that helps you to become a better healer, to become a medium, the best medium that you can be. And I'd like you to take some time now and to thank them for helping you on your journey through this life. And then when you're ready, I'm going to unmute you here and you can return to this time and space.
Great. I can't believe you're actually trying something different.
All right. So, how did that go?
Good.
All right. You seem to have somebody with a fair amount of background noise.
Lovely, thank you.
That's right, you didn't have the chips.
All right. I'm trying to figure out who that might be.
Was there a TV on?
Okay, I hear that's very interesting sounds.
I think it's Linda.
Okay. Well, that's part of it, maybe.
Wow.
Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe with this many people, it's going to be very hard to be too interactive. So I'm going to just mute again, everybody, for a second, just so we can continue. All right, I want to talk about the main clairs at this point. And if you have something that you'd like to say, I don't know if I can actually see everybody. Let's see if I can get, oh, there we go. That's better. All right, that's very good. Okay. Yeah, if you have something you'd like to say, just tap your head and I'll unmute you. And then I think that's the way we're going to have to proceed here for now. And if you have anything to add, please, this is a learning experience for me as well. And I'm certainly not the ultimate, knowledge and everything. But, our whole idea is if we work together, we can all become better. So I just want to talk a little bit about the different clairs. The clairvoyance is the one that you quite often hear. And I think it's the one that's most often misunderstood. And I guess I like to describe it as sort of watching a little movie inside of your head. And I think the biggest misconception that I had about all the clairs was that I was expecting too much from them. I mean, all of them take place inside of my head, basically. And once I got sort of used to that idea, then I kind of opened up to them a lot more. So when we're talking about clairvoyance, oftentimes a medium will start with clairvoyance when they're working with somebody. I envision opening a door and a spirit's there. So I see a woman, I see her shorter than myself, which is not unusual. I see her thin, I see her with blonde hair, whatever. I see her with glasses. That's often how my sessions begin. We'll begin with clairvoyance and then quickly shift to my strongest communication skill, which is clairsentience. So when you're using clairvoyance, you can see a color or a number or even a symbol. You may not understand what the images mean, and they're not always meant to be totally literal. And quite often I'm finding more and more now that when I give a piece of evidence and I get a no back, that first of all, Spirit doesn't give us something for nothing, for no good reason. They always show it to you for a reason. So the trick is to try to figure out what it is without putting your own take on it, You really want to just give what you get. But I've been finding if I get no's, let's say, for example, if I see a salmon or something like that and nobody puts their hand up, then I have to almost go to what's the symbolism of a salmon, Salmon spawn, it's the regeneration of life. There's, I can spin it off as a different way. There's a young boy who's missing a grandfather and doesn't understand about death. And then away we go. I finally hit somebody and I'm off and running. And so symbolism is a big part of clairvoyance. And I think it's also training your spirit guides to help you build a book full of symbols that you'll understand. For example, if I see an apple, it may be an apple. It may be a grandma who likes to bake apple pie. But on the other hand, more than likely it's a teacher, because an apple has become a symbol for me representing a teacher. Having been a teacher, that becomes sort of my main focus then. And so I can know if I see an apple, and then I can kind of sense about a little bit about the person. They're probably more likely a teacher for their profession or something like that. So let's see, how do you help train your clairvoyance? Well, you know, right now the Winter Olympics are on. I don't know if you've been watching them or not, but I've been watching a lot of figure skating and a lot of downhill snowboarding and skiing. And what's really fascinating for me as a former coach is that you can see them all doing sports psychology. They're all doing visualization or guided imagery before their runs or before their training sessions. If they're just visualizing, sitting there with their eyes closed, that's visualization. If you actually see the figure skaters going through their moves, or you see the skiers, the downhill skiers, doing the course ahead of time, that's guided imagery. Anyways, the point of it is the best training for clairvoyance is, in fact, this whole idea of sports psychology, of visualization. And there's a lot to be learned from it. So let me just take you through a little thing here. So if you wouldn't mind just closing your eyes again and imagining a sailboat moving slowly across a beautiful bay on a sunny summer day. Now, this could be a symbol. This could be a scene that Spirit has shown us because it's a shared memory that they might have had with somebody. And so, you know, if we get that, sometimes we're just happy with that, but we could actually focus more in on that sailing boat, or we could try to get better evidence by figuring out what's the name on the sailboat. Can we actually focus into the point where we can see the name on the side of the boat? That sort of thing. Now, what's the best way for you to do this? So I asked you to visualize this in color. Now I'm going to ask you to visualize it in black and white. And I'm going to read you, it's like I'm putting a camera filter in front of your eyes here, and we're going to change things. But I want you, almost like at an optometrist, you know, where they keep clicking the little lenses in until your sight's perfect. That's what we're trying to do here, is figure out the best way for you to visualize or use clairvoyance. So was it better for you with color, or was it better for you with black and white? Now picture the boat going really fast, like on a TV screen where it's been on fast forward. And then picture it going in super slow motion. And which of those was better for you? Imagine that it's kind of gone out of focus. It's all kind of fuzzy and blurred and, you know, impressionistic even. So oftentimes we get images like that, and you are left to come up with your own interpretation. Then imagine that it's in, you know, very sharp, very fine detail, like you know, a 4K television or something, where you can see every little nick in the wood on the side of the boat, all the difference in colors and everything very sharp. Imagine that you're very, very close now. It's like you've zoomed in, your lens is zoomed in. We've zoomed in to see the name on the side of the boat. Or we pan back to have a look at it from far away. Now, imagine that you're a person on the boat and look as if you're through the eyes of a passenger. So we're right involved in the picture now. We're part of it. We're looking around. We can see the helm. We can see the anchor or whatever we can see very closely because we're taking part in the scene now. Or back up and look at it as a third person and see that person that you just were working the helm or lowering the anchor. And then finally look from above as if you were an eagle looking down on the boat from a sort of, you know, topographical point of view. And then ask yourself, okay, which one or two of those worked best for me? And it may be that if you're trying to get an image of somebody and you only got a flash sometimes, you know, when a spirit comes in, maybe if you kind of look through a different filter sometimes, you'll get a different look at sort of things. Okay, I'm going to ask Julie here to share with me. I'm going to unmute you. Which one worked best for you?
Color and fast, and I like the idea of looking from above. I enjoy that. And then the close-up look, that was intriguing to me as well. I started to get the person in the boat when I did the close-up look.
Yeah, and how about you, Risha?
Um, I really like the slow, actually. I found I was able to get more details that way. I really like the color. And the really detailed, like with the, when you said it was like the TV, I really like that as well. It helped me get a lot more detail.
Cool. How about you, Marianne?
I liked whatever you said, I was able to zoom in on, and they all were good.
Oh, that's great. That's excellent.
I don't know.
I think, well, what I would say to that is that that's very good. And that's, you know, if you're doing a meditation, it might be something you want to try for a minute or so in every meditation. It's just practicing going through all the different ones just to keep it sharp, you know?
Yeah.
Denise, what did you like?
Oh, which Denise? Is there two?
Denise K.
Okay. I actually liked it all. I'm very visual, so I'm able to do all that. So I liked all of it, actually.
Okay, great. How about Allie? What did you find worked best for you?
I think it's helpful to have different angles, especially if you're trying to get a little more information. I'm a feeler, so I enjoyed really being on the boat because then I get a sensation, how does it feel? What was the emotion behind it? So it brings a little more detail for me.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. You know, we could have had a look at it from head on at the boat coming towards us, or from the back with the boat going away from us, all those sort of things. Stacy, what did you like?
I enjoyed it going slowly. I enjoyed the color, and I as well with Allie. I liked being on the boat because I got an emotional reaction, and I was able to get a sense of where I was, and I was getting more information, as well as an emotional reaction to it.
It kind of led straight into clairsentience for you, hey?
Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So you know how sometimes you see a person. It may be really interesting for you and Allie, or for all of us for that matter, to imagine that we actually go into their skin and look out through their eyes, especially if we're having a hard time trying to connect with them. Is that something you've done before?
I have, yeah.
Oh, okay. And that works well for you?
I mean, not every time, but certainly it's, you know, you strive to become the spirit, right? You strive to see through their eyes. So yeah, I have been able to do it. I don't do it every time though.
Just while I'm thinking about this, because I might forget when we get to clairsentience, if you're finding that it's hard to connect with a spirit sometimes, try speaking as if you're the spirit, like in first person. I am a grandmother. I'm old and I'm sad. And you may find that it really strengthens your connection. You find that works for you, Stacy?
Yeah, I do that a lot. When I'm really in it, I that's where I go. I start talking like that.
Yeah. That's a really cool thing to try.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool.
Julie Kate, what did you like?
I like the color.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it on water and zooming in, going fast, and being on the boat.
Excellent. And so if you were doing this activity for somebody else or another group, it would be quite easy to sort of put them into the eyes of the person and then draw in the different senses and feelings, so you could suddenly now feel the rocking of the boat and start to really feel what that person's feeling. And then it's just a very quick step from there to, okay, what are they feeling emotionally? Are they happy or are they sad, or, you know, what's going on with them and what's the story they have to tell? Hi, Denise, how are you?
Good, thank you.
How did it work for you?
I liked the color, how fast it was going, the faster. That's how, yeah, those were the
That's really
things
cool.
that stood out.
That's a really interesting response. I don't often get a lot of people who say that when they go faster, it's better for them. Most of them really find slowing it down gives them time to absorb, but that's really cool that you see it fast. So if you get into a scene where they're actually, let's say, riding a horse or something, you might want to go faster to see the outcome of that particular event. Or if something's, you know, the fast forwarding sometimes works really well if you're doing past life regressions or something. You could say to the people, okay, you know, I want you to now hit the fast forward button and go to the next significant point in this life and then tell me about it. Or I want you to fast forward now to the death scene or the significant reason that you were in this past life and then tell us about it. And by doing that, you know, you can always start. I want you to fast forward to the very first happy scene, and sort of, you know, then you, especially if you're worried about, you know, what the death scene might be like, or what the tragedy might be in this life, then it's a cool way of doing it. And I would also say that if it's a happy scene, let's say you've taken them to a past life where there's no major traumatic event, then it's okay to have them in the eyes, like to see it through their own eyes. However, let's say you're doing some post-traumatic work with somebody and you've done them into a meditation and you're taking them back and they're going to relive the event sort of over and over and take the emotion out of it. It's very smart to start as that third person point of view as they're watching a television show or a movie or something like that, so that they don't have this huge reaction right off the bat when they're dealing with you know, the trauma that they suffered. So that's actually hypnotherapy that I'm talking about here, but you may come across it. You just never know when you're working with somebody where it's going to take you. So I'll leave it at that. Anne, welcome. I haven't met you before. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Awesome. What did you like about the session?
Well, you are very easy to listen to with meditations. I have to tell you that.
Oh, good.
I don't find many meditators that can keep me focused. But I didn't really have a problem with any of it. Well, actually, I did with the black and white. I didn't like the black and white for some reason.
Yeah, you know, black and white's a funny one. I find that works best if you're doing like a past life regression. It kind of adds age to the situation. And so sometimes, like if a person shows me a scene and it's in black and white, like they're doing a shared memory, let's say, if it's black and white, I tend to think that it was a long time ago. Like it kind of helps me just on the timeline of how things are shaken down. And so if it's dark, it's like an old photograph or something, you know, it's just, sometimes it comes to me like that. So,
okay.
Susan, what did you sense or like?
Well, I'm just getting used to the whole idea of it all. I've been reading a book by John Holland, so I'm familiar with the clairsentience and the.
Well, that's good. That's great. You know, I think it'll be a very interesting session for you today then to figure out which ones work best for you.
Actually,
and the John Holland books are really well written and quite easy to understand. And, you know, most of the time when we do readings on here, the cards I'll use are his. I like his Psychic Tarot for the Heart card deck, just because I never read the books or any of those things. I just try to use the pictures as a clue, and I find them where, then that's his other one. That's the Psychic Tarot that Denise is showing there, the blue one. The other one is kind of green, and they're great. So, and you can also get them as an app, you know. So I often have them on my phone or on my iPad. Like, you never know when you're out for dinner or somebody wants a reading suddenly, you don't have any cards with you, that you can pull one. But it's better for when you're doing, let's say, readings for people by email or over Messenger. If you use the app, you can quickly cut and paste the picture of the card for them. Or if you're doing a lot of readings online in different groups, it really helps if you have the apps of the different decks. So Hay House has a big selection, but I think the one today I have is from the Zen, the Osho deck. So we'll have a look at that later.
I'm not
a professional. Yeah, I can't seem to unmute you. Are you on permanent mute for a reason?
Who, me?
No, the other Tracy.
Me, yeah, no, I've just got dogs in the background that keep barking. I just don't like
Oh, okay, fair enough. So how did that session go for you?
Yeah, that was really good. I do prefer the colour and for it to be slow. But yeah, I sort of found all of the different things it sort of did was quite easy to sort of see.
Okay. That's great. So I think I've talked to everybody except for Linda, and I just don't dare unmute her because I don't know what's going on at her house right now. So
there's nothing going on.
What's that?
I've been at dinner. I'm sorry. I've been out to a restaurant, so I kind of didn't want everybody to hear my conversations going on.
Oh, okay. All right. So no problem. Did you manage to sit through the last session where we did some clairvoyance?
I've managed to hear it off and on. I didn't have it too loud. I was at a restaurant.
Okay. Well, listen, let's go on to the next one, and I'm going to work through another couple here and have a little exercise for each one in case you're doing a workshop sometime about them and you want to work on them. So the next one I want to do is clairsentience. And, you know, basically that's the ability to receive intuitive messages by feeling, by using your emotions or physical sensations. Sometimes it's called empathy, or it's sometimes called, I don't know, just being a very good communicator. But I want you to sort of close your eyes now and picture either yourself or somebody else that you know really well. And I'm going to describe a scene to you, and then I want you to try to feel the emotions that that person would be feeling. And again, basically, we're just sort of practicing here. So this person is opening the perfect birthday present on their birthday. And so it's safe to sense that they're feeling, if it's the perfect present for them, they should be very, very happy about it. But let's switch the scene now, and they get the present they don't want, especially if little kids are looking for a toy and they got clothes, right? And they chuck it over their shoulder and are unhappy about it. Sense how they're feeling in terms of disappointment and that sort of thing. And then let's shift the scene to somebody else seeing a loved one about to leave for a long time and how sad and lonely they could feel. And you know, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, you might try even, you know, if this was a workshop or whatever and you're doing this, have people write down the emotions that they're feeling. And then if they have one or you're stuck on one and you can only get one, try to think of another possible emotion that that person might be feeling. Because sometimes when we're doing readings, we see or feel or sense something, and the word that we're using doesn't actually communicate the feeling quite right. And so we have to term it, you know, phrase it in a different way so that the person can understand and take the message. Another emotional thing to think about was the emotions of your very first kiss. You know, generally you like to think that that's a good experience, but not always. You know, imagine the person had bad breath or, I don't know, something else. You know, you could imagine both the positive and the negative of that. And then finally, the one that we're most often faced with is the passing of a loved one. And I'd just like you to sort of tap your forehead. When you think the passing of a loved one, do you think the overwhelming sensation that first came to you was sadness? Tap your forehead if it was sadness. And if it was joy or happiness, tap your forehead. Okay. See, it's very interesting to know. I think that now that I'm on this spiritual journey and I've been working with spirits for a while, I'm not near as sad about people passing as I once was. You know, because for me, for most of my life, I thought it was over and done with. And so I would never see them again or hear from them again. And so it was a real sense of loss. But I found recently when I go to funerals, I don't sense that at all. In fact, often I can kind of sense the spirit in the room, and usually they're, you know, quite happy, or not always, but most of the time, you know that life is continuing for them and that people will see them again, that it's not, you know, the totality of it. So it's much easier for me to handle that now. As an empath, man, funerals used to really kill me and knock me out. Okay, let's move on to clairaudience. And this is a very interesting one, and I think it's the most misunderstood one. I think most people believe that if you're clairaudient, you are actually going to hear voices and things out loud, spirits talking to you. And you may, if you're very good or very lucky, or you have incredible spirits that are trying to communicate with you. But I think for me, and most people that I've talked to, the clairaudience is one of the hardest things to get, because I think I was looking for something much too difficult, much too hard, rather than just hearing things in my head. And once I started to do that, you know, things got very, very different. So what does that sound like? So I'd like you to imagine a baby. So just close your eyes, and there's a baby in your arms, and this baby's starting to cry, and cry really, really, really loud, extremely loud. And you're almost at that point where you're starting to get nervous and you don't know what to do about it. How can I stop this baby from crying? And then you kind of cuddle it and it starts to soothe down and it gets quieter and quieter and quieter and quieter. And basically what you're doing here is you're simulating clairaudience because it's a hearing inside of your head. Now, you'll really know that you have clairaudience because when it comes from spirit, it's going to feel slightly different than it just did with you sort of imagining it in your head. And sometimes people get stuck on that, you know, their logical mind jumps in and kind of blocks them and says, well, you're just making it up, you know, you're just pretending or whatever. And so oftentimes people on their clairaudience get shut down right away because they don't believe it. Or they think, oh, I hear a song, but I'm making up the song. It's a song that I know or whatever. And what I would say to you, if that applies to you, or if you know somebody that that applies to, is to just push through it. I would say to them, just pretend, make it up. Make it up, go ahead. Because I'll bet you dollars to donuts that if you pretend or make it up, it's actually going to be spirit coming through. And you know, what'll happen is that it'll be confirmed to you later on in the reading. Either the people that are listening to you will say, that's it, that's my grandfather's favorite song. Well, how did I know that? Right? I don't know his grandfather from a hole ground. But the fact that I just went with it and pretended, it will turn out that way. Or somewhere later in the reading, it'll be confirmed to you later on. So I almost always found that when I get to that point where I'm dead stuck and I can't get to the next step, I just say, okay, to my logical mind, look, pal, just go and relax, okay? I'm going to have a little fun here. I'm going to invent some stuff. I'm going to make it up, whatever. Just chill, no big deal. What's the worst that can happen? And then once I sort of relax a bit and go with it, it's unbelievable how, like, I can say almost always it proves out that it was true or right. And so you have to just push through that logical barrier. And what'll happen is that the more and more times that that gets, you know, you get affirmations or you get affirmed that you're correct, then you'll start to trust yourself more. And that's when it becomes really magical, because if you can come up with a song for somebody, or if you can suddenly come up with some hokey saying that their grandfather used to actually say to them, that is a real wow factor. That can be the selling point. You don't even have to go for any more evidence than that. You could have it all done very quickly. And so it's something to think about. So let's just try a little bit of clairaudience. And again, if you're training or you're doing a workshop or that sort of thing, have them close their eyes. All right. And again, we're basically practicing our imagination. We're practicing. We're making it up right now in our head. Same idea. Try imagining the sound of a guitar playing. Imagine an instrumental guitar, a Spanish instrumental guitar, where they're playing each and every note. And then suddenly it starts to change into an electric guitar where they're strumming and making all kinds of wild noises, and it's getting really, really loud. These are really good activities to practice in terms of getting used to hearing the different sounds in your head. Play your favorite song. People say there's no such thing as hypnosis. I say to you, if you play the song that reminds you of your loved one, your song, you know, your, as a couple, your song, every time you hear it, you think of them, or you remember a specific moment or a dance or whatever. That's basically the same idea. We're just associating a name or a song or whatever with an event. And I think the same thing will apply, not necessarily for us, but for the people that we're giving readings to. So if we can find that magical song or whatever, it becomes very, very moving. All right, can you imagine the sounds of somebody that's deceased now, of their voice, a distinctive voice? Either they talked quietly, or they talked raspy, or they had something wrong, or they had a very distinct accent, or maybe they talk funny like me and have a Canadian accent. All right, then you can hear those different sounds. A baby laughing, the sound of a tool. How about an electric drill or a power saw? There's a good one. Can you hear those sounds in your head? Or a jackhammer? Those are amazing. Okay, the last one I want to talk about is claircognizance. And, you know, for me, claircognizance is kind of a funny one, because it means clear knowing. In other words, you just know. And sometimes that happens, you know, you get a contact and you just know everything about them. Like you have it all in 1 second. It's like, bango, I know this person. I could tell you everything about them. In fact, you know, you could probably even ask me questions and I could tell you the answers about it. That doesn't happen that often. And sometimes claircognizance and clairsentience really kind of meld or mingle or whatever, and it's hard to tell the difference. And maybe it's just semantics. Maybe it's not that big of a deal one way or the other. I think a really cool example of claircognizance that isn't always accepted, especially say from the British side of mediumship, where over there you're not allowed to do any kind of future telling and that sort of thing, is when you have a premonition of something that's going to happen. And so you say there'll be an earthquake tomorrow, or there's going to be a mudslide, or I don't want you to take that flight today, or whatever, and it turns out that the plane crashes. Well, those are, you know, premonitions or precognizance, if you like. But really, it's an example of clear knowing. You just happen to know, gut feeling, that that's not the right thing to do. And, you know, a lot of people go through life making all their decisions based on their claircognizance. Just, you know, I don't care if everybody in the world thinks I'm wrong. I know this is the right thing for me. All right, so listen, what I'd like you to do is to take a piece of paper and a pen if you have one, or open another little document on your screen, or use the chat button here on the, there's a little chat button at the bottom of your Zoom so you can type or whatever. And I'm going to give, I'm going to do eight sentences. And so I'll give you a sentence, and then I want you to write afterwards whether it's clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, or claircognizant. And you can just, I don't know, you can write the word or whatever, make a symbol or whatever you want to do. You don't need to write out the sentences. Just make sure you can know or think in your head. Some of them are pretty obvious. So here we go. Number one. Are we ready? I'll give you a second to get paper and pen if you need it. Okay, number one. The medium stands up and says, I have a woman here. She is a grandmother. All right, we'll go over them later, so just put down what you think. Number two, the song, I Have a Dream, keeps, this is what the medium says, I have a song, it's I Have a Dream, it keeps playing in the background. Rachel, that's awesome what you're doing there. It's like we have our own little answer pops up at the bottom. I don't know if you all see it on the chat screen or not. That's pretty cool. Number three, the medium says, I feel she is very sad and unhappy. Number four, she says, I see a woman wearing a blue winter coat with white buttons. Number five, the medium says, there will be an earthquake tomorrow. I think I already gave this one away. Kind of a teacher am I? That doesn't hurt to give away some hints once in a while. All right, number six, the medium says, she is saying there will be an earthquake tomorrow. So all of these, I'm going to try to do an example of each one using an earthquake example. So the first one was, there will be an earthquake tomorrow. The next one is, she's saying there will be an earthquake tomorrow. And then number seven, the medium says, I hear the rumbling of an earthquake. And then the last one, number eight, I see the house falling down because of an earthquake. All right, so let's go through them. I think Rachel's kind of given us all the answers, but let's just double check because I thought she was right on them. Number one, I have a woman here. She is a grandmother, is claircognizance. But what if she put one word in there? How could we change it to clairsentience by adding one word? I have a woman here. She feels like she's a grandmother.
Like a grandmother, yeah.
Yeah. She feels warm and cuddly like a grandmother. She has that deep love that only a grandmother could have. All right, number 2. The song I Have a Dream keeps playing in the background is clairaudient. Sometimes even a line from a song. Or have you ever had that where you're listening to music and a lyric just keeps jumping out at you and it's like someone's trying to tell you something? Very much clairaudient. Okay, number 3. I feel she is very sad and unhappy is clairsentience. Number 4. I see her wearing a blue winter coat with white buttons is clairvoyance. And then with all our earthquake examples, there will be an earthquake tomorrow is claircognizance. She's saying there will be an earthquake tomorrow is clairaudience. I hear the rumbling of an earthquake. Hang on. What am I doing here? She is saying there will be an earthquake tomorrow. Yeah, I guess so. I hear the rumbling. Aren't they both clairaudience, eh?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. I'll tell you, I'm losing it, hey? There you go. But maybe it was a trick just to see if you were being sharp. I don't know.
I thought so too.
And number 8, I see a house falling down because of an earthquake. Okay, so what one did I miss with the earthquake? I missed sentience. We'll take a second and write a sentence about an earthquake. That uses clairsentience. And when you got a really good one, let me know. Read it out. Anybody at all? Come on, who's the keener here? Come on.
I feel the rumbling.
Who's in the Bluebird group?
I feel the rumbling of an earthquake.
What? Sorry, say it again, Julie.
I feel the rumbling of an earthquake.
Yeah. I felt the rumbling of an earthquake. Yeah.
Mine was I feel worried about an upcoming earthquake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Very good. All right. Now, let me see here. I thought I had an opportunity here to go to breakout rooms. No. Okay, well, something to work on another day, so we'll shift it here. Okay, so let's go to the readings. And what we're going to do is we're going to have half of you kind of participate as a group in the psychic reading, and the other half will do the mediumship reading. And what I want you to do then is if you're in the if you're the person who's doing the reading, I want you to do the reading like we normally do. And if you're in the other half of the group, I want you to listen very carefully to the different people giving their readings. So we'll need the piece of paper again or whatever, and we're going to write down their name. So in the first one, we'll have Marianne and Denise K and Allie and Stacy and Julie and Denise. You're going to do the psychic reading for the first person. Hang on a second. I'm going to switch Marianne out of that group and put Julie in the group. So Julie, you're going to be, do I have two Julies? Yeah, so not Julie K, but the other Julie. Julie with the glasses is going to be in the first group where we do the psychic readings. Okay, and that means that Risha, Tracy, Susan, and Anne, you're going to write their names down, and Marianne, you're going to write their names down, and then we're going to just put a letter. So let's use C for let's use B for clairvoyance, S for sentience, A for audience, and Z for cognizance. And then what we want to try to do is as they give their evidence of the things that they sense or feel, let's just write those letters in there so that we can try to determine what their main form of communication is. Then when we switch and do the mediumistic ones, the roles will reverse. So we'll have the ones who are recording, you're going to do the mediumistic reading, and then the others are going to record. Is that clear? Anybody not sure what they're doing? Okay, let me just tell you that. So for the very first one, these are the readers. Denise Cranch, Allie Black, Stacy Decia,
Yep.
Julie Keetle, and Denise.
Okay.
And Julie. All right. So both Julies are going to be readers. That makes
So are
sense.
we reading mediumship or psychic? I'm
I'm going to show you a picture.
Okay.
And we got a little activity we do to start with, and then we're going to get into what we sense or feel about this person, and then I'm going to pull a card, and we'll give her a reading based on the card. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's just write that down. So Marianne's the first name. We're going to no. Let me get this.
No.
All right. So Denise K is giving a reading.
Okay.
Stacy's giving a reading. Both Julies, Julie K and Julie with no last name, are giving readings, and Denise is giving a reading. All right. Well, whatever. We're gonna give it a try. So
okay.
Here we go. So this is now what I'm going to do to you to start with is I'm going to flash this person's picture on the screen for about 3 seconds. Much like you when you're first getting into contact, you only get a brief glimpse of somebody. So to start with, if you're a reader, I just want you to tell me what you can see in the picture so that we could actually prove it. And then afterwards, we're going to get into our psychic abilities and say what we think he feels or other things that we picked up about her. Okay? All right, so here we go. Can you see this person?
Not yet.
All right.
Oh.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we only get a glimpse of her. And I'm just going to start and sort of rotate through our readers here to give us some idea of something they saw. So Denise K., what did you see?
Long, beautiful hair.
Okay, so if we were doing a reading, we would say I have a person here who has long, beautiful hair. Stacy?
Pretty.
I have a very pretty person here. Julie?
Off the shoulder shirt.
Denise?
Red lipstick.
Other Julie?
Red lipstick, long hair. Do I say one thing or two?
Sorry, so I have 2 Julies that are doing the readings here. Julie K's given hers, so I only have, Julie, what's your last name again?
Medley.
Okay, so Julie M.
Oh, I'm the one that said the shirt being off the shoulder style.
Oh, okay, sorry, I missed that. All right, so that's very good. Let's bring her picture back. Anybody have anything else they thought they noticed or wanted to add?
Young.
Did you want us to say just one particular thing or what?
Yeah, just one was for an example, but if you had other things, you could mention it now.
Well,
Anyways,
I would talk about, her age range.
Yeah, so age range is tough, right? So we should say something about her age range. What would you say?
I would say a
young adult. Yeah, that's very good. Young adult's excellent. Okay, so here she is. She's sitting in front of us. We're going to give her a psychic read right now. So just kind of look into her eyes for a second and imagine that we're blending our auras or our energy with her. And tell me what you sense about her. So I'm just going to open it up to anybody at this point. And those who are recording, here's where we're going to start recording. Well, maybe we should do this in turn so that we do it correctly. Just a sec. All right.
Did you say I'm reading as well or not? This is Allie. I thought I was reading.
Allie, you are reading. I'm sorry.
Okay, I am. Okay.
You want to start? Why don't you start then? So what do you sense about this lady?
Okay, let me see.
And so recorders, we're going to start. This is Allie, and we're going to start coding her things. Don't worry about it, Allie. Just give what you got.
Okay. So I feel like this lady is very determined, and she is she knows where she's going in her life. She has a path that is in front of her. There may be some uncertainties, but she is courageous enough to overcome them. she's definitely moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Now I know this person, so I can give you feedback on that. That is correct. All right, let's go to Julie. Oh, I got my names here mixed up here. Just a sec. Oh, boy. All right, to Julie M. What do you have for us?
If my dog barks, I'll put myself on mute, but
Okay.
I see her as being reserved, and she has a big focus on her career in life. I sense a dog around her, and I think she's into fashion and beauty and that type of world.
Okay, so I just want to draw your attention to the word think that you said in your last statement.
Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage you to switch it in their sense or feel or something else. The think just kind of gets into our subconscious sometimes, and we really don't want to be thinking too much. So, okay. And I have to tell you that you're dead on those those things. So I'll give you more feedback about that later, but I want others to read too.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Just a sec here.
Albert, can I go?
Yes, please do.
Thank you. This is what I got for her. She's spiritual. She's creative. I see her as a painter, introvert, and determined.
Excellent. Yes, that's right. Who'd like to go next? Okay.
I see her as having there's a decision that she needs to make or she wants to make, and she's pondering it. It may be due to her career or her personal life.
Okay.
And I see her as being determined and that she's going somewhere in her life.
Excellent. Okay. Anybody, who else do we have left that hasn't gone yet? Okay. I'm sorry, I've lost the names here, so just speak up.
Okay, I'm Stacy. I feel like she has a lot of strength, but I am aware, my sense is that she moved through a period of vulnerability and struggle, and in her moving through that, she has gained confidence, a sense of who she is, and has a lot of strength as a result of moving through that period.
Excellent.
I'm left. Yeah,
okay.
Denise. Denise
Okay,
K.
Denise.
The first thing I picked up was that she was concerned about something. I picked up she's very determined and she's on a spiritual path and very caring.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, wow, what an incredible group. So let me show you the card that I have for her. All right, so just a sec. Stop the share here. Now, so she's sitting in front of us. She's asked for a reading. These are all the things that you sensed, and you're all bang on. I didn't really hear anything I would disagree with at all. So now we pull a card for her, and this is the card we have. Same readers, and people who are recording, this will be your second time go around for these people. So we're starting to get a better feel for them in terms of what their the best way of communicating is for them. All right, so here's the card. Do you see it? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, everybody see the word courage at the bottom? All right.
We're reading the card as well?
Yeah, so this is the card you flipped for her. And based on the card here, what would you say, how does it relate to her? Does it give you any more insight into her? And what would you say to her if she was sitting in front of you?
Okay, I really feel like this card reinforces what I said.
Okay.
That she went through a period of difficulty, and
yes.
She's now breaking through and is really just starting to see and find her inner strength, find her confidence, and she's had the courage to move through that difficult time. And now she's just starting to shine, to settle into who she is, and she has the power now to move forward with more confidence. That's
okay.
What it says.
Excellent. Okay, next person. This is Julie K. Go ahead.
I see that also, what she's saying, but I do see a little bit more hurdle ahead. She still has some obstacles to get over.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what in the card would make you, would suggest that to you?
They're bumpy road, they're rocky. I'm looking at symbols, I guess, in the card.
Yep.
Um,
As represented by the rocks there that the plant's growing up through, you mean?
right.
Okay, who's next?
I want to add that I definitely see growth and expansion for her, and that shows, you know, the growth of the flower. Number 8 to me, that symbolizes expansion, spiritual growth, but also the purity of her soul. The white color stands out to me, so that's the color of herself. She's very, you know, she's pure in her motives. She's pure in her heart and mind.
Yeah, I can see that. So let's focus on the number for a second here. It is a Roman numeral for 8. What do people make sense of? Like, does the number 8 stand out in particular for anyone other than what was just shared?
I'm learning about numbers now, and 8's actually a very good number.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I don't know. I'm still learning.
I don't know, but I like it. Okay, so typically when I see numbers, I kind of use them for a time frame. So we've talked about her showing courage and having this breakthrough. So for me, I usually go, okay, so it's 8. Is it 8 years, 8 months, 8 weeks, 8 days, 8 minutes, that sort of thing? What's the time frame for, like, if we're going to look into the future a little bit here, for this expansion or this period that she can expect to achieve a goal? Somebody was talking about a goal that was coming up to her, or she had a decision to make, a career change. So, does that make sense to anybody in terms of a time frame? Do you think it's 8 years, 8 months?
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah, I think 8 months seems about right. It's just sort of a sense that I get. And at this point, I would probably ask for a little bit of clarification from her in terms of that makes sense or not, and what she kind of feels about that, because it may be something different if she's breaking up with somebody or trying to decide if that is. It could very well be hours or days that she's going to make this decision. So sometimes you can get more of an insight into what the 8 stands for in different parts of her life. It could mean different things, different times, different frames. Sometimes the number 8 is interesting, and sometimes I'll just say to the person, is the number 8 significant to you? Because it might have been their baseball uniform number, or maybe it was their dad's number, or maybe it's the month that they were born or the month their dad died or something. Depending who's coming through in spirit, it may have a connection to them. Maybe she lives on 8th, Calle Ocho or something. Maybe she lives on 8th Street, you don't know what the significance of it is. Sometimes you can get a feeling for that. Sometimes you can ask them, and then you get a whole new insight into different things. I know that when we're, the way I've been trained is that we're supposed to not give away a whole lot of answers or, fish for too many answers and that sort of thing. But lately I've been kind of feeling that the purpose of my readings are to help people, to help heal people, or to, help them get through life or whatever it is. And so I don't mind asking sometimes if it makes the reading better. Now, if I'm totally off base and I'm just guessing, then that's it's time to shut down and move on or whatever. But if it's in this case, and I said to her, what's the number 8 signify? And she says, well, the month of August is important to me. And then she says, that's the date that my dad died. Well, the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, is that who's coming through here? Because I don't know about you, but I can't hardly get halfway through a psychic reading before I have a spirit coming in here and I've made a connection at some point. I mean, it even happens on a platform sometimes, right? If you get up on the platform, ideally, you're supposed to not pre-plan it or try to remember it from the night before or whatever. You're supposed to stand up there and just open to spirit and get what you got. But sometimes, because you're anxious or nervous or whatever, you can't come up with something immediately. Then what you can do is, and you see them do this quite often, is they'll pick somebody out of the crowd that they kind of feel a connection with and start to give a bit of a psychic reading to that person. And then about halfway through, once they start getting some yeses or they relax or aren't focusing on being nervous anymore, then the spirits start to flow and it starts to come. So it's an old mediumistic trick, is that if you can't quite get the spirit side immediately, start psychically and then shift gears to a medium reading. But for me, it's kind of in a way, if you're providing a service for somebody, especially if you're charging for it, then you give it 2 for 1. You don't start out by saying you're going to give a spirit reading, but halfway through a psychic reading, you suddenly have her dad because he died in August. Well, then that's just, service provided. That's awesome. Okay, so let me ask you this then. Who haven't we heard from yet on this card? Anybody have anything to add about this card or the word?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so
M.
Yes. Hi, everybody. So with this card, I see the black border, and that signifies to me that the information I was being given about that was that life for her is a little bit more difficult than it is for most people. The black to me signifies serious. And then the word Osho I see at the bottom makes me think, it reminds me, it tickles my memory about religion. So I feel like her path in life is always going to direct her to a spiritual way of being. And then the yellow around the flower, what she goes through in life, she will emanate for other people. She will help others through that. I feel like she's very strong and grown up through concrete here. And then you asked about the number 8. I also see 3 in the rock. I see 3 very distinct lines. So I feel like she at times feels like there's 3 issues at her, or I don't want to put words, she can handle a lot at one time, and sometimes a lot is thrown at her at one time. So I feel like she's incredibly strong. She's here to be incredibly strong. And then, of course, the green color is healing. And then there is a very thin line of pink around the edges of the leaves.
Yeah.
This shows that life can be prickly for her, but she still has all of this healing for others. So it's quite an incredible life journey that she's on here.
Excellent. And okay, a couple of things I want to ask about the card. You've sparked some excellent ideas in my mind. I love your interpretation of that. Anyone else have anything to add?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Denise K.
Hi. I was getting obviously growing. She's blossoming. She's emerging into womanhood, and I feel she's very grounded, although whatever she has been through, and she comes from a good foundation. And I felt that she was on a healing path. And I see a man playing a flute in one of those rocks. So I don't know if that would be her guide guiding her, or possibly someone who's past that is around her.
Okay.
And,
so what does your gut tell you? Which of those 2 do you think is right?
Well, my first thought was that it was someone who passed around her.
Okay.
So I'll go with my first thought. And the number 8, I got 8 months.
Okay. Excellent. Who haven't we heard from?
Me, Denise.
Okay, Denise.
What I got seeing the flower was growth. And the green, I got money, like as if she's going to really become something or somebody later on in life. And that's basically all I got with that.
That's beautiful. Okay, I like it. I like that interpretation. Anyone else?
I mean, I don't do cards, so I'm winging it. I really feel like this the border is really highlighting. Again, I'm going to go with my reference. Really highlighting what she has just moved through. this was a really important, life-changing situation or moment in her life. And it's highlighting the importance of it. And she has moved through it. And now she is emerging with new growth, new view, with change, new perspective, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome. Okay.
But again, I don't do cards, so I don't know.
Well, the truth of it is that none of us probably need to use cards, that you could give a psychic reading, the exact same psychic reading. I mean, you all did before we even looked at a card, right? And then basically when you see the card, it just confirms what you said. It does help the people that you're giving a psychic reading for, though, sometimes to see the vision or the insight. I really I don't know how to do tarot, and I really don't like to read the booklets, particularly that come with the cards, because for me, I love just using my intuition, and it gives me some ideas. And sometimes it just reminds me about things once I get rolling and talking. If I have spirit going, I'm really talking fast, I tend to leave things out. So I like cards for that reason. Okay, let me ask you this. What would you make of the fact of the second flower, the second growth, the smaller one?
She's going to be branching out in new directions.
Okay. Kirst certainly can see that. Any other possibilities? Any other things people see?
I see it as, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Allie. Allie and then Julie.
Okay. I also feel that there is somebody close to her who's supporting her on her journey. It feels like a family member or a close friend or somebody close to her who is being there for her and kind of, helping her with that growth or is involved into that, her transition in her life.
Excellent. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Julie?
I see it as part of her new growth.
Okay, excellent. All right, so let's just, I don't want, we could go on all night here, so let's get ready to move on to the last thing that we're going to do, which is some mediumship. So this particular lady, let me just take it off share here. Anybody have a name?
No.
Her name is Jessica. And if you're having trouble with names, you can start with letters. Sometimes that really helps. But I think if you're not good with names in your real life, it's going to be hard to be really good with names as a psychic or a medium. And so that has applied to me. So I've been trying really hard, especially with the Olympics on, when I see a competitor, to say their name correctly and then sort of spell it, close my eyes and try to spell it either out loud in my head or see it written down and that sort of thing. Because I think that if you can practice doing that, then later on, eventually, I believe that names will come. And if they come to you, then great, because then you're very fortunate. You're probably a very detailed person who remembers everybody's name, and that's great. Now, this young lady's name is Jessica Taylor, and she is my son's partner. And well, let's just take a look at her card for a second again here. I thought that you were dead on about her. She was very kind of an insecure person, but has worked through that. She has some insecurities around her worthiness of holding a job or an important job, but she has just recently got a new job that gives her a lot of responsibility and is quite challenging. She's doing great at it. Her relationship with my son is about a year old, and I think that that's been very good for both of them. And so if I were looking at this card and doing a reading for them, because I know them so well, I would see that offshoot was, in this case, I think, her relationship with him. Not that that's the entire reason for the growth. It's why it's smaller or whatever, but that is part of it. But certainly the gold around there represents, this beautiful idea of shining and all that. And the courage, I really think, represents the courage for her to overcome self-esteem issues. The only thing that's holding her back or has held her back in the past is herself and her own belief system. She really is quite talented and wonderful and beautiful. And all those things that you said were dead on. I thought that was really maybe the best reading I've seen from a group yet since I've been doing this. That was really awesome. Okay, now let me just go back to the main screen here so I can see everybody. My computer, I got to get another screen set up here so I can still see everybody when I'm doing the screen share, because I suddenly lose everybody's names and everything. So that's some kind of Zoom thing I'm going to have to work out. All right, so let's start with Denise K. Marianne, what do you think her main way of communicating is?
Oh, she's the only one I didn't really write anything down for.
Okay, I'll come back. Okay, that's all right. That's okay. I'll come back to you. So who has something on Denise K and her mode of communication?
Oh, I do. See.
She sees things?
Yeah.
Oh,
She
so
said,
clairvoyant?
I see this, I see that, I see.
Okay, so you would think that her main communication form is clairvoyance.
Yeah.
She's a clairvoyant. Okay, does other people agree with that?
I don't even think, I didn't know we were writing it down.
Oh, you were actually giving, so your turn to write down is coming.
Oh, okay.
At the beginning, so she's clairvoyant.
Clairvoyant, yes. Okay.
She said that at the beginning, so that validates.
Oh, okay. Okay. Does that make sense to you, Denise?
Yes, you're talking to me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so how about Julie K then?
I wrote down feeling.
Mm-hmm. Definitely
sentient.
Clairsentient, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good to use the terms. Anybody disagree with that? Anybody have something different?
I had the word sense in there too, as well as so,
sense and feel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Denise or Julie, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but I'm very clairvoyant. But that's
Okay.
I have, yeah.
Clairsentient? Okay. How about Stacy?
I have feel and sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else? Stace, that makes sense?
Yeah, I do. I feel. I know a lot. I get a lot of knowings, and I see.
Okay, excellent. How about Denise? The other Denise. Okay, now listen, you know, there's some bad students in this class here that didn't write down things. I can see that right now. All right, well, how about using your psychic abilities here to bail you out then? What do you think she is?
I'm going to go with clairvoyant.
Yeah, I'm going to go clairvoyant.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Denise?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah, okay, good. Now, have I missed anybody that was doing reading? Oh, other Julie. Yep, Julie M. What do you think of Julie M, people?
Clairvoyant.
I think she senses.
Mm-hmm.
I thought sentient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Although I think she has abilities to do all of them.
Yeah.
Primarily, she's clairsentient. I would agree. How about Allie?
I think as well.
Mm-hmm. Anyone have anything other than clairsentient for Allie?
Just a sec.
I tell you, Marianne, you're going to get a gold star for this particular session here.
I was the only one that wrote something.
Head of the class, top of the mark. So if you give me your husband's email address, I'll write a glowing report.
Thanks, Al.
So what did you have?
For who are we doing?
Allie. For Allie.
Allie. Clairvoyance. See.
Clairvoyance, eh? Okay. Anyone else have a feeling about this? A feeling about this?
I think she feels.
I think Allie has lots of abilities. I think her primary one is clairsentience. Would you agree, Allie?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely sentience and clairvoyance. I think clairaudience is my last one. It's hard for me to hear for some reason. But all the other ones, they kind of blend in together. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. I really thought that this group was very skilled. I thought that the overwhelming sense was that you really could feel who Jessica was. You could sense who she was, that you could relate to her, that you would be, able to, some of you even felt almost protective of her in the sense that, is showing courage and she is working through things and all those sort of things. So that's really great. Okay, so let's flip it now. And now that you know the routine, we should try to mark down as best as we can. I know it's hard because what happens is you start listening to what they're saying and getting into the reading yourself and seeing whether you agree it or not. And it's hard to focus on their statements. But even if you can just get the first one, often people will start with their strongest one, or they'll reveal it very early in a reading. And let's see what happens. So we're going to shift gears now. We're going to have the other people, the ones that we're recording, are now going to do the reading, and vice versa. So we're going to be doing a reading for Mary Ann. Mary Ann is going to be doing the reading. So you could write Mary Ann down. And Ann is going to be doing a reading. And Susan's doing a reading. And Tracy's doing a reading. So how many? That's not that many. Am I missing anyone? Oh, I guess Linda and
People left.
some people left. Okay. Anybody want to join this group and do some mediumship? Or we'll leave it in their fine hands. I'm sure they're capable. Okay, then. Here we go. I am going to show you a picture of a person for about 5 seconds. And I want you to imagine that this is a spirit that has come through to you. And then we're going to give a reading for them.
So the picture of someone who's passed?
Yes, this person has passed. That's correct. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know, Marianne. This seems like cheating to me.
Yeah.
This is Marianne's grandma, so I don't know if we should really let her do the reading on her or not. Maybe you could give the yes or no's for her so that you could be the client. And maybe what we'll do is let's let Anne, Susan, and Tracy start the reading in that order. So Anne can go up first, and then Susan, and then Tracy. Let's make notes about them, and then we'll open it up to everybody to sort of chip in on this person.
Okay.
So Anne, when you're ready, go ahead.
Okay. Well, getting the sense with her, I'm getting Philly. I'm hearing Philly, and I don't know if that's the P or for Philly. I'm getting the number 5 with her. And I'm getting a J for a month. I want to go towards January.
Okay. And so let's throw that out there to Marianne. So does that make sense to you, Marianne?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so leave it at that now. Let's see if Anne can hone in on that so she knows she's got the right spirit and that you're on the right track and you're doing great. I know it's hard going first, but you've done a great job. So now, can you add to that at all?
Are you talking to me?
No, it's I'm going to let Anne just, because she got started here, and I want her to see if she can get anything else, and then we'll move to you next.
Okay, well, I'm also being drawn to another female in spirit with her.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, well, and I'm not getting this really strong, but I want to be drawn to a K.
Okay, so let us just think about that for a second. What do you say to that, Marianne?
Not sure about the K.
Okay, think about that for a second, and we'll come back to Anne on that. I'm trying to, there's a lot, could be a lot of people trying to go through the alphabet here.
Yeah.
I do believe, yeah, there is a K. I'll let you think about it. I'll come back to you. But there's many others as well. So, okay, Susan, what do you have?
Okay, I got a whole list of things.
Awesome.
She was a great grandma. She had many kids.
Yes.
She loved to cook. She loved the outdoors. She loved flowers.
Yes.
Christmas was her favorite time of the year.
Yes.
I'm telling you right now, I got cold chills running down me here.
Well, have a look at Marianne on the screen, who's nodding and laughing because you're dead on, obviously.
You're dead on
so that'd be great.
everything.
Keep going.
She loves scarves.
Yes.
Scarves. She loves scarves were her favorite, which is she's wearing one here, but she loves scarves. And she always was smiling. Everybody talked about her smile all the time. And she loved the ocean.
I know she loved water.
I got ocean. That's what I
Okay.
got ocean. So
Wow. I would give you about, I think, 9 yeses and 1 I don't know.
Yeah.
Is her name Mary? Would her name have Mary in it?
No.
Well, she said Mary. She told me Mary. So I guess she's telling you hello.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. Okay. Well, seeing how Marianne and I are brother and sister, so she's our grandma, so she's just telling her that the message is for her, which is not surprising. She always liked her better anyway. So.
Oh.
I didn't know that part though. I didn't get that part that y'all were related. I didn't know.
That's okay. Trace, what do you got to say? Got anything to add?
I couldn't connect quick enough with that. My screen disappears when you put a photo up, so I've got to try and get it back and it's turned off. But anyway.
Do you want the picture again?
Oh no, that's okay because I've just got it for a second. The only really thing I got was Mary also, and that was it.
Telling her hey.
Hey.
Hey is what we say in the South.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hi.
Okay. Marianne, you want to give some feedback then?
Yeah.
Hang on. Don't give it all away here because we're going to have others join in, right?
Okay. I was going to say, Anne, could you go a little further on that? What did you say, Philly?
Yeah, that's the first thing I got with her was like Philly, and I didn't know if it was like a name or Philadelphia.
Yeah. No, I think. Can I say something now?
Yeah, go ahead on that one, yeah.
Okay, because it is so. Her father had nicknames for all of their children, and hers was Foley.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great. You have to put that on the family tree, I guess.
Yeah, Foley.
Well done, Anne.
Yes.
Excellent. So that alone would be a beautiful wow thing, but wow, I am so impressed by you guys. Just incredible evidence. Everybody seemed to be right on there. How about the others? Do you have anything to add? Anybody have something they want to throw in?
I have a couple of things. I'm not sure, just gonna throw it out there. But I did see like a small house, like with a front porch.
Yes.
Tells me that she had, it looked white, like I feel like she liked cleanliness and she really liked to take care of her things.
Yes.
And I also felt that there was a sense of water nearby, like I could see rocks and water, so there was like a sense that there was like body of water somewhere close to where she lived. It almost was like Atlantic side to me, felt cold, kind of. Like Atlantic side of the ocean.
Atlantic, no.
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 But the water, like I think, as a suggestion, if you were doing this reading, start general and then get more specific. So if you go with the water, you're going to get a yes from us because there's a reason we would say yes. And then as you sort of get to it, now you started talking about a larger body of water and that sort of turns into a no at that point. And so can you take it from there and see, can you get any more on it? So it's not that big of a significant thing, but when you said that, I immediately, it was a yes for me because there was a river that ran or a creek that ran right by their house. So
Gotcha. But were there rocks on the creek?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like she was like a center, like everybody would gravitate to her, like all the kids would come to her, and just the center of happiness and nurturing and loving, just that very
definitely, not just for the family, for the whole community, for sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Anyone else?
I would want to talk about, I'm feeling pressure in my chest, in my heart. So you would understand that as issues for her later in life?
Yes, I would.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm aware of her her capacity really diminishing towards the end.
Yes.
Weakening.
Definitely.
And the frailty of her, she's making me aware. I'm aware of this woman's strength, right? But and I know that she liked things just so. And she's making me understand the difficulty of her with this gradual weakening and having to abdicate that sort of control is how she's making me feel. Do you understand this?
Yes, yes.
And I'm also aware that she experienced loss in her life. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And she really, really stood strong through the. I feel like I'm a pillar. Like I really dug in my heels and I withstood the storm. Is how I'm feeling. This is how I'm feeling.
Yes.
This is a strong woman, but in her strength, because I do feel there's a bit of rigidity with her. Do you understand this? I don't want to go psychic here. I want to stay in the energy of it. I'm feeling, again, I'm feeling a lot of management in her day-to-day life of the home and the children. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Again, and a really great, she was a really strong manager of things because I do feel like I need to stretch the dollar. Do you understand that? I need to stretch that dollar and make it work in many different ways. And I do feel like I want to be in somewhat of a rural area. Do you understand that? A bit of a country feel is how I'm feeling. Do you understand that in terms of where she would live? And I feel like she's giving me the sense of great wisdom.
Oh yeah.
Like she was, and she would give you great counsel. Because I do feel, Marianne, I want to go to you in terms of, and you did mention it, but I'm going to go with it anyway, because I'm going to go with it. I do feel a very, very kindred spirit with you and her. Yes. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And so I want to talk about, as she aged, you were very much involved in that. Do you understand this?
Yes.
As she aged, you were very much a part of it and integral. What's the word?
That's right.
You understand the word? You were very much a part of it. And so I feel such like I can breathe easy and I can rest easy knowing that because I'm feeling like you took charge of a lot of stuff for her. You understand that? You could say no.
Yes and no.
Okay, because I am
probably at times is the better answer, hey?
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to hog, but I just want to finish it.
Okay.
Yep.
I am feeling a relief that she's being cared for at the end. I feel relief over that.
Yeah.
And I do want to say though, with Marianne, like you were really like an apple of her eye. You were really very special to her. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I do.
And so I do want to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
I think I should end
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, so excellent evidence. I totally believe that this was our grandmother. So messages. Why is Grandma Sullivan coming through here?
I really feel she wants to give a big thank you to Marianne. A big thank you. And I also want to acknowledge, this is your mother's mother, correct?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge everything you've done for your mother or did for your mother. Do you understand that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to acknowledge that because I do really feel you took care of her child. And I feel tremendous gratitude over that because I'm feeling there was a lot of need there with your mother. And I'm feeling tremendous gratitude. And I want to acknowledge how well it was done as well. It was with love and tenderness and grace because I'm feeling like it was not the easiest scenario for everyone. Do you understand this?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Is the right answer. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't just me. It was you too.
Yeah. I know that there was difficulty there.
Mm-hmm.
And the management of it was hard, and there wasn't always a lot of cooperation.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. Anyone else have a message?
She's rubbing your head, Albert.
Rubbing my head. Oh, that's
She
nice.
doesn't want you to feel forgotten.
Okay, that's good.
There, and she laughed a lot, didn't she?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
I see her laughing and just
Yeah.
laughing. Yeah.
for sure. Okay, anyone else?
Said she loves you too.
Love me too. Oh, there you go.
Loves you too.
Good.
He embraces
No,
you.
in
We
my
love
own
her
way.
No, she loves you. She wants you to know
That's
that.
much more.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks. Okay, so let's just wrap this up here. So Anne started this whole reading off. And what was our sense about Anne's main form of communication?
Here.
Good hearing. I got good hearing, clear feeling with Anna.
Okay, so we got clairaudient.
She kept using the phrase, I get, so I assumed it's a clear knowing.
Claire knowing, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was very interesting. When she started her reading, she was giving excellent evidence without actually using any sort of the, normal telltale words. And so it does, I agree with you. I think it is a real sense of claircognizance. There was clairaudience demonstrated in clairsentience as well. Some of it was implied for sure. What do you think, Anne? Do you have a claircognizant ability that things just come and you know?
Yeah. I mean, I am a sensor. I mean, a feeler too. I mean, so like if I can feel like, or they'll put me in a position where how they used to sit, how they used to walk. So,
yeah.
But the knowing, but like saying the hearing, I never even thought of myself as a hearer. So
yeah,
this is a first for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, how about Susan? She gave some incredible evidence. And what was interesting, Susan, I don't know if you've noticed this, but once you start talking, you go really fast, which is a very good indication that you have spirit with you, because your vibration's raised and you got a lot to say, and it's like a machine gun, just all kinds of good evidence comes firing out. It's great.
And I also cry.
That's good.
I'll just start crying, and I don't like the crying part.
Well, okay, so let's just talk about that for a second. So sometimes when you are connecting with spirit or you're raising your vibrations, you do have side effects that come through. For me, I tend to sweat a lot. I also talk really fast when I'm connected. And but like if I'm sitting in church, I have to bring a handkerchief or something because I am just sweating like crazy. And one thing that you can do in this case is ask, set boundaries. Okay, listen, I know you're here. I can sense that you're here. I don't have to sweat like this. You don't have to, make me do this, or please don't to do that.
I've done that.
Oh, you have done that. You've set boundaries, and yet they still do it, huh? You're going to cry no matter what?
And chill.
Well, chills, yeah, chills are cool. I always know I'm on the right track as well if I get chills or like the hairs on my arm stand up or something. But that's really cool. I think that the crying works for you, quite honestly. Like if you're giving readings to people because it's sincere, right? I mean, you care. That's really important.
And the message you were giving in at this time was beautiful.
Really beautiful. So what do people feel about Susan's main form of communication?
Feeling, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't cry out her ear, so she's a sensor for sure.
Big feel.
Okay, how about Tracy? Tracy's left us. Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, she'll probably listen to this later. So what did we think about Tracy? I thought Tracy was a wonderful person, really nice, buying time for somebody. Anybody to jump in here?
I would say clear audience, clear sentience.
Yeah. Bit of everything.
Yeah.
Mostly clairsentience.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen. Thank you very much. We're drawing very close to the end here. I think I got 3 minutes, so my timing's pretty good. I'd like to draw to a close with a closing prayer. And then I'll hang around for a few minutes if anybody has questions or anything they want to talk about later.
I like to tell you that I never thought about working on my clairsentience or clairaudience until today.
Well, that's good. You know, I think that's good.
I got something out of it. Yeah,
Cool.
Good.
All right. So if you wouldn't mind closing your eyes for a minute, pray to the God of your understanding, divine spirits. Thank you for being with us tonight or this afternoon and for helping us on our own personal spiritual journeys. In particular, we humbly ask for your healing power to help each of us to overcome our greatest fears, the fears that are preventing us from becoming who we really want to be. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. And I'm going to probably do the exact same session on Thursday. You're more than welcome to join us again. I'm going to really try to have breakout groups for Thursday so that when we do the recording part, it'll be a little different. But other than that, it'll probably be pretty much the same. So you can join again or not, but we'll have a new one next Tuesday. So I wanted to just tell you, I thought this was a really amazing group. I really feel humbled just being, you know, a part of it. I think that you all have so much to offer, and I really appreciate you coming.
When are you thinking of doing online spiritualist church?
Pardon me?
When are you thinking of doing that?
Well, you know, soon, within a month, I'm thinking. I am not a minister. And so I think we can do a lot without a minister, but I do think it would be important to find somebody that might be into that, or set up a rotation where I have different minister each week or each month. I'm open to suggestions, so I could envision it going lots of different ways, but I think that spiritualism will die out the way it's going. Any church that I've been to that's spiritualist seem to be very an old congregation, and don't see a lot of new young people joining in. And I know that in Canada, they're only in the big centers, for example, if that. And there's so many people or people that you run into that have no way of doing it. So I think for the church to evolve, we need to accept social media as part of our way going forward. So that's sort of my mission on it. I think that we could really tie into a bunch of people. I don't know if where you are, if you're part of a spiritualist church, and you can't get. Are you a medium?
Yeah, me?
At the church, do you do platform?
I do.
Okay, good.
I don't do I'm in a circle there, so we take turns. I'm not doing the whole time. I'm on my own.
Oh, good for you.
I just don't know how you would structure the service.
Oh, I think I would structure it pretty much like a regular church service.
I think it would be really interesting to see how that.
Well, I think again, I think you would probably use the webinar function on Zoom.
Yeah, you would have to do the webinar.
And I think that the majority of people would be just receiving information. There's not going to be a whole lot of interaction. Perhaps a survey at the start or the end, or maybe hand raising or something. But I can see where you would probably have somebody that could play the guitar, or a group of people that would sing that need to be panelists. I could see that you would have your person who's the chairman running it would need to be a panelist. The medium would need to be a panelist. I don't know how to do the mediumship. Perhaps if we have people could raise their hand if they're panelists and the reading's going to them, then if they're just attendees and the reading's for them, then we upgrade them to be panelists so that they can give feedback in terms of the spirit reading.
In place to do it like that?
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah, for sure.
You could do like a group healing, the healing aspect of it. You could do like a group healing.
Yeah, for sure.
Here.
Yeah, well, certainly could do the healing prayer. We could certainly send out healing to, like for example, the people that are grieving in Florida over the shooting, and we could do all kinds of global things like that.
And you could have people sign up like you did today.
Yeah, that's right.
Who want to be mentioned in the prayer.
Yep. yeah, we could have a prayer book or
Yeah.
that sort of thing. I guess it would be a prayer blog probably, but yeah.
That's so interesting. I never heard of that. That would be interesting to see.
Yeah, well, I think it might be worth a try. So if you have any ideas, yeah, we can talk, or you can text me or message me and see what you think. And if any of you are interested in, you want to do platform mediumship, but you don't get the opportunity where you are, then this may be another way of doing it.
You need to be certified. I'm not certified yet.
To do mediumship? No.
I'm not certified.
Well,
certifiable crazy maybe, but no.
Church, you know how that gets. It's very still in the thinking. So I don't know if you're going to be.
A lot of I don't know. My church, it's not everyone. Not many people are certified.
No.
Mine was like when I was in Dayton, Ohio. It was like you have to be certified and you have to go through the program and.
No.
Well, I think that's a real problem. I've seen that in a few churches that I've been where I think it gets to be kind of political and people are building empires or protecting empires, and so they don't really want new people in. And I think that's what would be the beauty of this, is you make it so that it's accessible for everybody to be involved who wants to be involved. And we set up a schedule for different people to do mediumship and different people to chair it. And, even different musical groups. It'd be interesting to have a different song from a different person or 3 different people from 3 different places. It would be really cool.
I love the song you played. I love that song you played. We play that at my church.
Yeah, I think our church too, the Where I Sit is Holy is sort of the first thing they start all the time.
Yeah, I love that.
And when we do sort of mediumship evenings, we'll play that at the start too. And I find that it's quite amazing, the connection, or like raising the spirit in a room. It's great for that. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be one of those trial and error sort of things, but considering there's no alternative, there's nowhere to go but up, really.
It's a great concept.
Yeah, well, being an idea guy is one thing. Figuring it out and doing it's another.
Yeah, the logistics that you have to figure out.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is the song you're talking about?
It was called Where I Sit is Holy.
Okay.
And I had it playing. I tried to play it the sort of 5 minutes before we get started. The lady's name the recording I had was Shania Knoll.
Yeah.
And I think you can look it up on YouTube and you can check it out there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful. And there's a couple other ones like that.
I'll put the link up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay, everyone. Well, thanks so much, and hope to see you all again soon.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.